Hello, and it's the first day of the FIDE Online Steinitz Memorial Chess Tournament. So now let's analyze game played between Magnus Carlsen and Peter Svidler. Carlsen is playing with white and Svidler is playing with black. So Carlsen opens with c3. Peter Svidler replies with e5, c4, knight to f6. We are now having an English opening on board. Knight to c3, bishop to b4, h4, and Peter decides to castle, and e3, c6, g4. Here Carlsen is trying to launch an attack, and in reply Svidler plays d5 and g5, attacking the knight on f6. Now knight gets back to the e8 square, and a3, attacking the bishop. Now bishop retreats to e7. C takes the d5 pawn, and c takes d5, and now d4. Now e takes d4, e takes d4, knight to c6, bishop to g2, and knight to c7, knight g to e2, and bishop to f5, knight to g3, attacking the bishop on f5. Now bishop to e6, and now Carlsen decides to castle, and it's queen to d7, bishop to f4, rook a d8, rook to e1, rook f e8, queen d3. Now bishop to d6, attacking the bishop on f4. Now knight to h5, supporting the bishop, and now bishop to g4, attacking the knight on h5. Now Carlsen takes the rook on e8, rook into e8 check. Now rook into e8, and then bishop to d6, queen into d6, and queen g3. Now Carlsen wants to trade queen into g3, knight into g3, knight into d4, winning the pawn. And now Carlsen wins back the pawn, knight into d5, and knight into d5. We are now having a capture phase here, and bishop into d5, and king to f8, slowly developing his king. And now bishop takes the b7 pawn, and now rook to b8, attacking the bishop. Now bishop plays e4, and now rook takes the b2 pawn. Now rook to c1, rook b3, attacking the a3 pawn. Now rook c4, attacking the d4 knight. Now knight to f3 check. Now bishop takes the f3 knight, and bishop into f3, and knight to f5, king to e8, rook to c7, and bishop to d5. Now knight into g7 check. Carlsen wins the pawn by giving a check. Now king to d8, rook to c5, attacking the bishop on d5. Now bishop to b7, and now rook to a5, and rook h3, king to f1, rook takes the pawn on h4, and now rook takes the a7 pawn. In this position, Svidler could have won the game in the next move, but Svidler didn't play that move. The move was bishop 2. Then Svidler would have won the game in the next move, because he cannot escape from being mated. Rook into rook h1 check. So instead of playing bishop to f3, what Svidler played here was king to c7, supporting the bishop on b7, and now rook plays a5, and now h6 by Svidler. Now g takes the h6 pawn, g into h6. Now rook into h6, rook to f5, bishop a6 check. Now queen e1, rook to h3, rook takes the f7 pawn with a check. Now king to b6, f3, rook h1 check, king to f2, rook a1, rook to f6 check, king to a5, knight to e6. Now rook Svidler takes the pawn on a3 with his rook, rook into a3, knight to d4 by Carlsen, and bishop to c4, king to g3, king to b4, king f4, and king c3, king e4, and rook a8, knight to c6, bishop to e2, f4 plays Carlsen. Now rook a4 check. Now king to e5, bishop to f3, f5, rook a6, knight to d4. Now rook takes the f6 rook, rook into f6. Now here Carlsen plays knight to b5 check. Now king to d2, and then king takes the f6 rook. Now bishop to g4 and king e5, and now bishop takes the f5 pawn. It is in this position that both the players agreed for a draw.